Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today's Tip Tuesday video is going to be about alternator belts and how to change an alternator belt on a B20, LS, B18, B16, whatever. It's all the same stuff, guys. So I was inspired to do this video from a friend of mine that just wanted an overall idea on what to expect doing the job. It's not that hard, guys. I'd say probably a level 1 job, but video is about to come up. I'm going to post a link to the belt and the part number down in the description box, so make sure you guys check that out. Alright, so changing the alternator belt. What you're going to want to do first is make sure that you disconnect your battery. That way you don't have any power running through the system going to the alternator. You don't want to get shocked. You don't want to short anything out. Just disconnect the battery. And as far as the tools go, this is what you're going to need. I got a 12mm flex head. Doesn't have to be, as long as you got a 12mm wrench or socket, that'll work fine. You're also going to need a 17mm. Like I said, doesn't really matter, wrench, ratchet, socket. As long as you got a 12mm and a 17mm, you should be able to get it. Lastly, you're going to need a pry bar. This is about, I don't know, 18-inch pry bar. And that should be all you need. Now, from my setup, that alternator is from an LS, but it's all the same. Brackets are all the same. You might have a little bit more of an issue getting to your belt, your cruise control. You might have to move some things around in order to gain access. And I'm going to put a light on it here so that way you can see. And I'm going to get a long screwdriver to use as a pointer. So this nut right here, this is going to be your 12mm. You got your 12mm here, and then down under or pulley is the 17. And it's kind of where I'm pointing right there. So it's almost directly under this one. So if you were to count, if this is your 12 o'clock, it's almost at the 6 o'clock position on the alternator. That's going to be your 17 that you're going to have to just break it loose. You don't have to take it all the way out. Just loosen it up. Do the same thing on the top here. Just loosen this one up, this 12mm. And then that's going to give the alternator a whole bunch of slack. It's going to pull forward. It's going to move this way. Once you loosen those two, just crack them. Crack the bottom one loose, loosen this one up more, because you're going to be making your adjustments from the top here. So after you crack those bolts loose, you're going to take your pry bar, and you see this tab right here that I'm tapping on? This is what's going to give you leverage. This tab is on here, so that way you can tighten this alternator back up. So you just take your pry bar, and you wedge it down in here. Now I'm going to zoom in real quick. There's like a tab on the alternator for you to get leverage on. That's specifically for this purpose. So you take your pry bar, hook it on there. You see? See, I got it hooked up like that. And now that you have those bolts loose, you're going to take and put pressure. Well, this is after. Do this after you put the new belt on. After you loosen everything up, you put the new belt on. Then you're going to get your pry bar. You're going to put it up in there like that. And then you're going to take and you're going to pull towards you. You know, put a good amount of force on it. And you're going to hold it there, okay? And as you're holding there and you're keeping tension on it, you're going to take your other hand with the 12mm and tighten up that top bolt. That first one that we were talking about. You're going to tighten that one up. Then after that's tight, go ahead and tighten up the bottom one. Right here, I don't know if you can see this, is a cutout, a channel. And that right there is what's going to allow this here bolt and the alternator to pivot back and forth. So that's what you're going to be putting pressure on. You're going to get your pry bar and stick it up in here and put pressure to tighten it back up. Now as far as belt tightness goes, my rule of thumb is, let me move this light here. My rule of thumb is You take the belt and twist it. You shouldn't be able to twist this belt all the way around. That's about as much as you should be able to get it. And I'm putting a good amount of pressure on there. And that's about halfway. So if the belt is flat, I'm twisting it about this far. If it twists more than that, then your belt's too loose. If it twists just a tad, then your belt's probably too tight and it could end up snapping. So it's kind of one of those things that you gotta play with a little bit. But you know, nice and firm. If your belt's too loose, you'll hear it. It'll squeal as soon as you start the car up, and it'll stop. It'll go away after it warms up and the belt tightens up. It'll go away. That's how you know you got a loose belt. If you're hearing a constant like dragging sound or like a tension sound constant, then your belt is too tight. Same thing goes with the timing belt. You know, shouldn't have a whole bunch of play in it. Like that's it. You know, right there. Out of the way, see? It's not doing a full half turn, but it's getting like a quarter turn. That's how you want it, because when these belts get hot, they actually tighten up. So if you over tighten it, let's say my timing belt, I can only budge it like this, and the car is cold. Guess what? When this thing heats up and I start revving the crap out of it, I can end up breaking the timing belt. So don't go too crazy, but don't have it too loose as well. So anyway, hope that helped. If you got any more questions, man, just let me know.